This is Jackie, and I'm here with Jaime and Tony of Pierce the Veil. After a long 6 years, it's been, you guys are kind of in the middle, sort of the Misadventures tour. Why did you guys decide to do your own headlining tour versus that tour that you've hit that tours the summer?
Wait, I think we wanted to do something special because this record was kind of a little challenge to make. It took us a long time to kind of finish the record, so I think when we were nearing the end of it and we were all like pretty much just like, finally, this record's done. We wanted to do something really big and special, so we decided to. It was actually our producer's idea. Was like, why don't you guys say, F it, play the whole record, put it in small rooms, and we thought it was a great idea. We thought it was a good time to do it because it was kind of like a celebration, not only for us, but for the people who were like super patiently waiting for it. So we said, what the heck?
A long time for the record, and we kind of felt that what better way than just give them all the new music all at once, because they've been pretty hungry for it. So
yeah, at first the album was teased to come out in 2014, then 15, and so now it's here in the spring of 16.
Deadlines that we just kind of skipped over, but I mean the record wasn't ready, and we didn't feel comfortable putting out anything that, I think we're in that position where us as a band, we can control that. So we, everyone slowed down. We're like, what, we got to do it right. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. So we're really stoked that we did,
It was worth the wait. So you guys have been together for about 10 years now already. What is that? No, not old yet. Just a little bit older, a little bit wiser. What do you think attributes to your band's longevity and why people, have hung on, clinging to wait for that next album for so long, as dedicated as they've been?
I don't know what it is, but we're super thankful that it happened the way that it did. I think for us, longevity was the name of the game from when we first started. We didn't want to be, the biggest band overnight. We wanted to be the biggest band we possibly could be, but take our time doing it. And I think from playing every tour, we played the hell out of our last record a ton. I think we toured for 3 years on it, almost, or 2.5 years. We just nonstop playing shows. But
I feel like a lot of bands get into touring and they're not quite ready for it, and a lot of people figure out once they go on the road that it's not what they want to do. Mm-hmm. And luckily, our bands before we started Pierce the Veil, we had done some small touring, and Vic and Mike had done touring on their own. And by the time we started this band, we knew what we wanted to do. We knew how hard it could be, but we were all in for the long haul. So there were no surprises, we knew what we were getting in for.
We knew we had to, grind and work really hard. And the good thing about that is for us, we've always just been ourselves too. And that was the one thing that I remember talking about and just being doing what we're doing is super tough. But the easiest thing about it is just you have to be yourself, and you can never take yourself super serious. Just have a good time doing it, because honestly, there's a million bands that would be very thankful and very glad to take your spot. So you gotta stay hungry.
Well said. So what's the song on Misadventures that's either your favorite, your secret favorite, or that best represents the album's overall sound?
Well, the one that, an easy one that I would pick for the overall sound of the whole record is actually the first track on the record, Dive In. That one we always talk about as being, first of all, it's 6 minutes long, so a little ambitious there, dropping it first. Hey, check out this freaking super long song. But it literally kind of has everything we can do musically, I think, in one song. It has really pretty moments. It has really fast, punk kind of style stuff. It even has really heavy breakdown-y sounding stuff. So I think everything we like to do in a band, that song is a good kind of hey, if you want to hear Pierce the Veil, check this song out. It'll give you everything.
6 minutes to try and throw everything in.
Everything, yeah. We threw in all kinds of stuff in that song. But yeah, that's one of my go-to songs, I think. And I think it's a like I said, ambitious move, but I'm glad we did it.
For me, he took the one that kind of that filled us out as a whole, I guess. But I guess my favorite is Texas Is Forever. Super fast, and it's kind of a throwback to what we were all listening to in high school when we first started bands, just all the SoCal punk rock that we listened to back then. So that was fun.
And both definitely feature, Tony, your guitar work even more than sort of previous albums. Was that intentional to sort of focus on all of the musicality of all four of the members?
I think that just kind of happened. I don't think we go in with any intention of trying to showcase any one thing when we write a song. It's just whatever works for that song. We never really, you never try and let your ego or your part, for instance, that song actually was originally a bass riff, and it turned into he was the one who wrote that song.
I wrote that part, and then in the studio, like we have a version of it with it starting with like bass, and it was like a cool little part, and our producer was like, let's try it with guitar because it might sound better, and it ended up being way cooler. So it was like, all right, so like that's the kind of stuff where you can't really, it's all for the song, you know. It's not necessarily like, yo, I want to have this part in the song. For me, it's what does the song need, what makes it, and it did sound better. So I'm really glad we kept it the way it was, because it turned out to be that much more of a fun song. So
Definitely powerful. Tony, how do you collaborate with Vic in the song process? When do you jump in?
Vic writes a lot on his own, and he comes to us with big skeletons of songs on his computer, and we'll jam sometimes in like the rehearsal space when it's getting closer to leaving for a studio, but a lot of it's all done on the spot in the studio. Like, we'll set up in a circle, we all start jamming and playing out all these songs and figure out what we can add or how to restructure everything. But yeah, it's all done in the studio.
And how do you collaborate with Mike in the same way?
yeah, we all, I mean, it's all kind of like all four of us kind of in a room collaborating on whatever skeleton we might have. But yeah, I think we work best that way when we have something, you know, a riff or a drum part or any idea, you know, like I said earlier, that the Texas was inspired by just one little bass line that kind of grew into this crazy, you know, whatever. But yeah, I think that's just how, I mean, obviously certain bands can go in the studio and make a great sounding record in 2 weeks. You know, for us, it takes a little bit longer, you know. So that's just how we've always done it. It's one of those things, like, if it's not broken, you know, don't need to fix it. So we're just keep going. We're just keep on trucking.
With your engineering background, have you gotten involved sort of on the other side of the table?
Yeah, I think it's always very important to have someone in the band that gets that kind of stuff, like, you know, in the audio world, because you're going to need that, you know. You just, in being in a band, you need it, whether it's for live or for recording or studio stuff. Having that background definitely helps. But yeah, I mean, especially more live too, 'cause setting up our shows and making them really fun and exciting. We take that really seriously as well. So
yeah, all of like our intros and you know, sampled stuff and everything. Jaime builds all of that stuff at home. So
and that's just like another reason why we like I said earlier, are trying to grind and doing all this stuff. We try to make each show very special, very unique, and we put in the time to make sure that every song has a cool way, you know, it just flows. We want it to flow. We want kids to remember the entire show and not just like one part or one song. Yeah, I mean, we were used to seeing, you know, bands growing up that did that kind of stuff. That put the extra. You can tell, like, that was my favorite thing when you see a band. They make it look so easy, but you know that they put a ton of work, and that's the best part. Like, when you see somebody who's really well rehearsed, who's got their shit together, if I can say that. And it makes it look like it was a breeze, and you're like, God, they're so good. Like, how are they doing that? So
you also make it look like it's fun to do too. So I think that's a good combination. That can't possibly be easy.
Gotta have fun out there. Gotta have fun.
What are some messages that you hope fans take away from this album?
What are the messages? I just think in general, there's a lot. I know Vic is very personal when he writes about his lyrics and stuff, but I think in general, this whole record was kind of you know, a snapshot of us, where we were, what we did, and a lot of it, you know, a lot of people ask us, like, what are you guys influenced by? And, like, honestly, like, a lot of it has to do with fans, because we see them every single day with meet and greets and just outside walking around. They tell us all these, like, amazing stories of how music has helped them or whatever. So that, I think, is just...
That helped us, too, because we were getting kind of stuck in the studio. And when we broke things up to go tour, you know, a lot of inspiration came from that. We kind of got out of that space where we felt a little stuck, and fans helped us through it. And that's part of the reason why in our liners it's just dedicated to the fans. We didn't think anybody this is for you.
Families or friends, we put just to the fans, because honestly that was
a huge... Ever done that.
Yeah, so I think any message would be just thank you, you know, and keep trucking.
That's going to be your new tagline. Speaking of the fans, there's a specific song on the album that sort of addresses the violence that we unfortunately have been seeing, the increase in venues. What happened last year at the Bataclan in Paris. Unfortunately, things happened at Pulse nightclub and Christina Grimmie. As someone who frequents music venues all the time, what advice do you have to fans who want to go to a show but might be a little, unfortunately, scared?
I think the main thing is when you go anywhere, obviously, you're trying to have a good time. So I guess my only advice is just have a backup plan. You know, we talk about it with the crew and the band all the time. I mean, obviously, if something were to happen, if something were to go down, we know what to do. You know, we're supposed to go and just go to their green room and stay put. Just exits. That's all you got to, you know, find 2 exits and make sure you guys have a plan, and that's it. You know, it could take a 5-second conversation, like, all right, there's exit 1, there's exit 2, cool, and then have a good time. You know, that's all you can really do. The best thing is to not change your vibe. You know, you have to have a good time, but just have an exit strategy just in case.
And keep on track.
You gotta get out of there. You know, it's gonna get wild. So just know where the exits are.
So it's good that you encourage fans to sort of, you know, I think it's got to be business as usual.
Absolutely, yeah. Have a good time. You're there to have a good time. Like, don't let anyone take that away from you. But just, you know, take the 5 seconds to just find 2 exits and you're good to go.
And being helpful just there and elsewhere is something that you guys have done before. Tell me a little bit about some of the social causes and charities that you guys have worked with in the past.
Yeah, we're actually on this tour. We've been doing a lot with a foundation called Living the Dream, and what they do is they take sick or ill kids who are going through whatever it may be, and you know, one of their things that they want to do is see the band play. So what we do is we bring them backstage and we hang out with them for a couple minutes and just hear their stories and talk to the family and you know, give them some signed stuff, some photos, and really just hang with them. You know, I mean, I think just the half an hour or the 20 minutes that we hang with them, I think really gets them excited, and they get to see the show, and then we see them after the show and stuff. So they're a really good foundation that I think is. Well, I was talking to Vic about it too. That it's one of those things where you could feel it make a difference. You can, because it's not just like we're writing a letter and sending it, and we don't have no idea what's happening. Like when you see the kid and you see the family,
even the families get.
Yeah, it's a very tangible thing, you know. So I think if we can do that, you know, and make someone's day, like, well, you know, no problem, easy peasy. So that's a really cool thing that we like to do.
And hopefully with all of the sort of stress that we have worrying about going to music venues, it sort of reminds us that, you know, music is a really powerful thing. So what's up next for you guys after the Misadventures tour?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I would like to know.
Is it all secret still?
No, yeah, no. After, yeah, she's like, is it all
I
secret?
thought you weren't gonna say. I was like,
No.
wait a minute.
No, we have a lot. We have a lot of stuff. We have, after this, we do South America. We have UK and Europe booked. We're actually, after this tour, we're playing Conan, which is going to be awesome. That's blowing my mind.
Scary.
It's going to be a scary, very new thing for us. But and yeah, we always have, you know, in Australia as well. We're going there with Beartooth and Silverstein. A lot of stuff to come. A lot of stuff.
Literally playing an entire world tour.
Yes.
And Conan O'Brien. So I mean, like, that's kind of cool. You know,
we're planning something a little bit later, but that is yet to be announced. But we'll be near everyone soon. So
they will be near everyone soon.
Physically, I'm just going to be really close to a lot of people.
Jaime will be everywhere. He will keep on trucking, and Pierce the Veil will be coming to a city near you.
Oh, yeah.
Stay tuned for much more. This is Jackie. Thanks to Chorus.fm and In the Key of Change.